Welcome everyone. If you have ever wondered how to secure full marks in a 10-mark question for IB Business Management examination, you are in the right place. In this video, I will take you through a step-by-step approach to writing a well-structured, analytical and high-scoring response. Whether you struggle with using business tools correctly, connecting to the case study or structuring your evaluation, don't worry, I have got you covered. By the end of this session, you will have a clear strategy to confidently tackle any 10-mark questions and consistently score the highest mark band to full marks. So grab a notebook, stay focused, and let's dive into the secrets of writing a perfect 10-mark answer. Before you even start writing your answer, the most important step is to understand the question fully. Many students lose marks simply because they misinterpret what the examiner is asking or what exactly is expectation of the question asked. Let's break it down into three simple steps. First, focus on the command term. IB Business Management uses specific words like examine, evaluate, discuss, and justify. Each of these requires a different approach. For example, if the question asks you to evaluate, you must provide both advantages and disadvantages before reaching a final judgment. If it says justify, you need to support your argument with strong reasoning and evidence. Second, identify the key topic and concepts. What is the question really asking? Are you discussing leadership styles, pricing strategies, or market entry methods? Highlight the important terms in the question to stay on track. Finally, always consider the case study. A high scoring answer doesn't just give general theory, it applies concepts directly to the business in the case study. Instead of just saying a penetration pricing strategy helps attract customers, connect it to the given business. For example, XYZ company penetration pricing would allow them to enter a competitive market with lower initial prices, helping them gain market share. So remember, understanding the question is half the battle won. Misreading it can cost you valuable marks, but if you break it down using these three steps, you will set yourself up for success. Let's move on to the next step. One of the biggest mistakes students make in 10-mark answer is not using business tools and theories correctly. If you want to score in the top band, you need to show that you can apply the right business frameworks, concepts, and models in a relevant and accurate way. Let's break this down into three key points. First, apply relevant business tools. If the question is about a company's expansion strategy, you might use the Ansoff Matrix. If it's about a company's product portfolio, you could apply the BCG Matrix. If the question focuses on analyzing strengths and weaknesses, then SWOT analysis is your go-to tool. But remember, it's not enough to just mention these tools. You need to apply them effectively to the case study. Second, support your arguments with business theories. If the question involves motivation, refer to Maslow's hierarchy of needs or Herzberg's two-factor theory. If it's about leadership styles, bring in autocratic, democratic, or laissez-faire leadership concepts. Using these theories shows examiners that you understand how businesses make strategic decisions. Third, ensure accuracy and relevance. Simply throwing in business tools won't get you marks. You must apply them correctly to the case study. Let's take an example. If a question asks about the company's growth strategy and you state the company should use Ansoff Matrix, you won't get any marks. Instead, be specific. Say Since XYZ company is launching a new product in an existing market, the most relevant growth strategy is the Ansoff Matrix is product development. This kind of precise application will make your answer stand out. So to sum up, always use the right tools, apply relevant theories, and ensure accuracy in your explanation. This will help you build strong, well-structured arguments that will impress examiners and secure you the top marks. Now let's move on to how you should structure your answer. Now that we understand the importance of business tools and theories, let's talk about how to structure your answer to maximize your marks. A well-structured response isn't just easier for the examiner to follow, it also ensures you fully answer the question. Think of it like building a strong foundation for a house. If your structure is weak, no matter how good your content is, you won't get full marks. Here's the best way to structure your 10-mark answer. First, the introduction. Start by defining the key term from the question. This shows the examiner that you understand the core concepts. Then, briefly outline what your response will cover. This gives your answer a clear direction. For example, if the question is about pricing strategies, your introduction might say, this response will evaluate cost plus pricing and penetration pricing, analyzing their impact on profitability and market share for XYZ company. Next, the body paragraphs. At least 2 to 4 paragraphs. Each paragraph should be structured as follows. First, point. Make a clear statement relevant to the question. Second, application. Use the case study or stimulus material to support your point, like giving an evidence for what you are analyzing is relevant to the business mentioned in the stimulus. Third, analysis. Explain the impact using business tools and theories. Fourth, evaluation. Consider advantages, disadvantages, or limitations. Let's take an example. If the question asks whether a company should expand internationally, one of your paragraphs might say, expanding into international markets can increase revenue due to a larger customer base. Point. For example, XYZ company could enter the European market to attract more customers, becomes application. Using Ansoff Matrix, this would be classified as market development, which carries risks such as cultural differences and regulatory challenges, becomes analysis. However, a strong global brand strategy could help mitigate these risks, becomes evaluation. Finally, the conclusion. Summarize the key points you discussed in your response. Provide a final judgment that directly answers the question. Include a brief evaluation by mentioning any limitations of the case study or the business situation and how it would have affected your judgment. For example, while penetration pricing can attract customers in the short run, its long-term profitability depends on brand positioning and customer loyalty. Ultimately, the best pricing strategy for XYZ company depends on its competitive environment and cost structure. By following this structure, introduction, body, conclusion, your answer will be clear, logical, and well developed, giving you the best chance of scoring the highest mark band. They say first impressions matter, and this is especially true for your 10-marker answer. Your introduction is the first thing the examiner reads, so it needs to be clear, concise, and effective in setting the tone for the rest of your response. Let's break it down into 3 essential steps. First, define the key terms from the question. This shows the examiner that you understand the core business concepts involved. If the question is about leadership styles, define what leadership means. If it's about market segmentation, explain what that is. This step helps demonstrate your knowledge and ensures that your answer is focused. For example, if the question asks, evaluate the impact of cost plus pricing on a business, you could start with, cost plus pricing is a pricing strategy where a fixed percentage is added to the cost of production to determine the selling price. Second, mention the business concept or tool that you will use in the answer. If the question relates to growth strategies, introduce Ansoff Matrix. If it is about analyzing competitive positioning, mention Porter's generic strategies. This tells the examiner that you will be applying relevant theories to support your response. For example, this response will use Ansoff Matrix to analyze whether market penetration or diversification is a more suitable strategy for XYZ company. Finally, briefly outline the structure of your answer. Give the examiner a roadmap of what to expect. This makes your response more organized and easier to follow. For example, this answer will first examine the advantages of cost plus pricing, followed by its limitation. A final judgment will be provided based on its suitability for XYZ company. By following these three simple steps, define, mention, outline, your introduction will be clear, focused, and well structured, immediately signaling to the examiner that you know exactly what you are doing. Now, let's move on to how you should develop your strong body paragraph to secure those top marks. Now that we have covered how to write a strong introduction, let's move on to the most important part of your answer, the body paragraphs. Each paragraph should be structured in a logical and strategic way to build a well-supported argument. To ensure maximum clarity and marks, use the PAEE technique. First point, clearly state your argument. This is the main idea of the paragraph. It should be a direct response to the question. For example, if the question asks, evaluate the impact of penetration pricing for XYZ company, your point could be, penetration pricing can help XYZ company attract a large customer base quickly by offering lower initial prices. Second, application. Use case study or stimulus material. Your response must be connected to the real life business scenario given in the case study. This is where most students lose marks. They mention theories but fail to apply them to the case study. For example, XYZ company operates in a highly competitive industry with established brands, but by using penetration pricing, it can gain market share by appealing to price-sensitive consumers. Third, analysis. Explain how this supports the argument. Now you need to show your understanding of business concepts. Use theories, frameworks, and logical reasoning to explain the impact of your arguments. For example, according to pricing strategies, penetration pricing creates brand awareness and customer loyalty, increasing the likelihood of repeat purchases. Over time, XYZ company can gradually increase prices and improve profit margins. Fourth, evaluation. Consider strengths, weaknesses, and limitations. The difference between an average answer and a top band answer is evaluation. This is where you weigh the pros and cons of your argument. For example, however, penetration pricing can also reduce profit margins in the short run. Additionally, some consumers may associate low prices with low quality, potentially harming XYZ company's brand perception. Important tip: a well-balanced answer always includes counter arguments. Even if an idea sounds great, no strategy is perfect, and recognizing limitation shows critical thinking, something that examiners love. So, to summarize, every paragraph should follow the PAAE structure. First, point, make your argument clear. Second, application, use stimulus material from the case study. Third, analysis, explain your reasoning using business theories. Fourth, evaluation, weigh the pros and cons and limitations. By following this approach, you will write stronger, more structured responses that will impress the examiner and get you closer to that perfect 10. Now let's move on to how you can effectively connect your answers to the case study. One of the biggest mistakes students make in the 10-mark answers is failing to properly use the case study. Many students just mention the business name without actually linking their argument to the given scenario. This leads to lower marks. Even if the theoretical explanation is good, so how can you make sure your response is strongly connected to the case study? Let's go step by step. First, use relevant information from the stimulus material. The IB exam provides valuable details about the business, its market, financial situation, and challenges. Your job is to extract and apply this information. For example, if the case study mentions that the business is a new startup, your answer should focus on issues like funding challenges, market entry strategies, or brand awareness. Second, go beyond just naming the business. Analyze its situation. Simply saying XYZ company should use cost plus pricing is not enough. You need to analyze why that pricing strategy is relevant based on the business's financial situation, competition, or industry. For example, since XYZ company operates in a highly competitive market with strong brand loyalty amongst existing competitors, penetration pricing would help them attract price-sensitive customers and gain market share quickly. Third, ensure all points made are linked back to the case study. Every argument you make should connect to the specific details given in the stimulus. Ask yourself, does this point relate to business's industry? Does it align with their financial position? Does it consider external factors like competition, economic conditions, or technological changes? Important tip. The best answers integrate stimulus material naturally. Instead of forcing connections at the end, weave them into your explanation throughout your response. For example, if a case study is about a family-owned bakery looking to expand, you must say, as a small family-run business, XYZ bakery may struggle with economies of scale, making cost plus pricing a suitable strategy to cover expenses and ensure consistent profit. By deeply analyzing the business situation instead of just name dropping the company, your answer will stand out and score higher marks. Now that we have covered how to apply case study, let's talk about one of the most important elements of a high scoring 10 marks answer, developing a balanced argument. For evaluative questions where you are asked to discuss, evaluate, or assess, you must consider both sides of the argument before reaching a conclusion. This is what makes your answer well-rounded and critical, which is exactly what the examiners are looking for. Let's break it down into 3 key steps. First, provide both sides of the argument. If the question asks, evaluate whether XYZ company should expand internationally, don't just discuss the benefits of expansion. Also consider the challenges and risks involved. A one-sided answer will limit your marks because IB expects you to think critically about a business decision. Second, use counter arguments. and weigh different perspectives. The best responses acknowledge opposing viewpoints and assess their significance. For example, expanding internationally would allow XYZ company to access a larger customer base, increasing revenue. However, entering a foreign market comes with risks such as cultural differences, legal regulations, and high initial cost. By discussing both perspectives, you show critical thinking and a deeper understanding of the topic. Third, justify why one viewpoint is stronger than the other. The key to scoring the 10 marks is making a well supported judgment. Your conclusion should explain which argument carries more weight and why. For example, although international expansion has risks, the long-term benefits of market growth and increased brand recognition outweigh the challenges. XYZ company can mitigate risks by conducting thorough market research and forming strategic partnerships. Important tip: a high-level evaluation doesn't just list pros and cons, it compares them and explains why one is more significant. Examiners love this approach. To sum up, always consider both sides of the argument. Use counter arguments to show depth in your answer. Justify your judgment based on evidence and reasoning. By following this method, you will write a well-balanced analytical response that will impress the examiners and help you secure the top band marks. Now let's move on to how to craft a powerful conclusion that ties everything together. We have covered how to structure your answer, develop arguments, and apply case study material. Now let's talk about how to write a strong conclusion, the final piece that ties everything together. A well-written conclusion does more than just repeat key points. It summarizes, evaluates, and makes a final judgment based on the analysis you have provided. Here's how to do it effectively. First, summarize key points concisely. Your conclusion should briefly restate your main arguments without repeating everything in detail. For example, this response has evaluated the advantages and challenges of penetration pricing for XYZ company. While it can increase market share quickly, it may also lead to short-term profit losses. Second, make a judgment based on evidences and analysis. Don't just list both sides. Decide which argument is stronger and justify why. For example, overall penetration pricing would be beneficial for XYZ company due to its potential for long-term customer loyalty and competitive advantage. Third, discuss limitations of the case study. The best conclusions acknowledge the limitations of the given information. Examiners love this because it shows critical thinking. For example, however, this recommendation is based on the assumption that competitors will not react aggressively. The case study does not provide detailed financial data, so further analysis is needed before making a final decision. Fourth, answer the question fully with a strong final statement. End your conclusion with a clear, confident statement that directly answers the question. For example, therefore, penetration pricing is the most suitable strategy for XYZ company's expansion, provided that it carefully monitors financial sustainability and competitive responses. Important tip: a strong conclusion doesn't just summarize, it provides clarity, evaluation, and a final decision. To recap, summarize key arguments concisely, make a final judgment and justify it. Third, acknowledge limitations in the case study. And fourth, end with a confident and clear final statement. By following this approach, your answer will feel complete, well balanced, and high quality, helping you secure top band marks. That brings us to the final section. Let's look at some key evaluation techniques that will help you stand out even more. Now that we have covered how to write a strong conclusion, let's take it one step further. If you really want to secure the top band marks in your 10-mark answers, you need to demonstrate high-level evaluation skills. Evaluation is what makes your answers stand out because it shows critical thinking. Here are 4 key evaluation techniques you should always consider. First, consider short-term versus long-term implications. A business decision might have immediate benefit but long-term risks or vice versa. For example, if a company adopts penetration pricing, short-term sales might increase, but long-term profitability could suffer if prices remain too low. Show that you understand the trade-offs between short-term success and long-term sustainability. Second, assess different stakeholder perspective. A great evaluation considers how a decision affects different stakeholders: owners, employees, customers, suppliers, and the community. For example, expanding internationally may increase companies' profits, good for shareholders, but could lead to job losses in the domestic market, bad for employees. Thinking beyond just the business itself shows deeper analysis and critical thinking. Third, discuss external factors that may impact the situation. Businesses do not operate in a vacuum. External factors like competition, government regulations, and economic conditions all influence outcomes. For example, if the global economy is slowing down, consumers may spend less, which could impact the success of a premium pricing strategy. Using steeple analysis or Porter's generic strategies can add depth to your evaluation. Fourth, identify limitations in the case study or business model. Not all information is given in the case study, and acknowledging this limitation shows examiners that you understand the complexity of the real world business decisions. Example, the case study does not provide financial data on the company's cash flow, making it difficult to assess whether expansion is financially viable. Highlighting missing information proves that you are thinking critically and strategically about the situation. Important tip: a well-evaluated response doesn't just state facts, it questions, compares, and analyzes business decisions in depth. To summarize, think about short-term versus long-term effects. Consider different stakeholders' viewpoints. Analyze external factors affecting the decisions. Acknowledge limitations in the case study. By applying these techniques, your answer will demonstrate higher order thinking, making it more impressive and examiner friendly. Now let's move on to some common mistakes to avoid so you don't lose marks unnecessarily. We have covered all the key techniques to write a perfect 10-mark answer. But now let's talk about the most common mistakes students make. Mistakes that can cost you valuable marks even if you know the content well. If you want to maximize your score, make sure to avoid these 4 major pitfalls. First, not answering the full question. Missing evaluation. Many students give a good explanation but forget to evaluate. If a question asks you to evaluate or discuss, you must consider both sides of the argument and provide a judgment. Example, If the question asks whether XYZ company should expand internationally, don't just list the benefits, also discuss the risks, challenges, and limitations before making a final decision. Solution: always check if you have included evaluation before moving on. Second, weak or irrelevant application to the case study. Simply mentioning the company's name from the case study is not enough. Example of a weak answer: XYZ company should use cost plus pricing. Strong answer: since XYZ company is a startup with limited financial resources, cost plus pricing would ensure profitability by covering production costs while allowing flexibility in pricing decisions. Solution: every argument you make should be backed by details from the case study. Third, lack of clear structure in paragraphs. Some students write long, unorganized paragraphs without a logical flow. This makes it hard for the examiner to follow your argument. Solution: use the PAAE structure. Point: state your argument clearly. Application: link it to the case study. Analysis: explain using business theories. Evaluation: weigh the pros and cons. Keeping this structure will make your answer clear, logical, and high scoring. Fourth, insufficient analysis or one-sided arguments. One of the biggest mark-losing mistakes is giving only one side of the argument in an evaluative question, and you end up getting only 50% marks. For example, if discussing outsourcing, don't just say it saves cost and increases efficiency. Instead, add depth. While outsourcing reduces costs, it can also lead to quality control issues and reliance on third parties, which could impact customer satisfaction. Solution: always provide both perspectives and use real business logic to strengthen your answer. Important tip: before submitting your answer, do a quick checklist review. Have I answered all parts of the question? Have I applied relevant case study details? Is my answer structured logically? Have I included both sides of the argument and an evaluation? By avoiding these common mistakes, your answer will look more polished, well structured, and examiner friendly, helping you secure top marks. Now let's move on to some final tips to wrap up everything up and ensure success in your exams. We have covered everything you need to write a perfect 10-mark answer, from structuring your response to evaluating arguments effectively. But before we wrap up, here are some final tips to make sure you maximize your marks. Read the question carefully before writing. This might sound obvious, but many students lose marks simply because they have misinterpreted the question. For example, if the question says, discuss the impact of leadership style on employee motivation, don't just write about leadership styles. You must focus on how they impact motivation. Solution: take 30 seconds to underline the key words in the question before you start writing the answer. Use business terminology accurately. IB examiners want to see that you understand and apply key business concepts correctly. Example of a weak response: the company should make their customers happy. Strong response: implementing a customer relationship management (CRM) strategy will enhance customer loyalty and brand equity. Solution: use precise business vocabulary to sound more professional and knowledgeable. Third, plan your response before writing. Writing without a plan often leads to disorganized, repetitive answers that don't fully answer the question. Before you start, quickly outline introduction, define the key terms, plus outline your argument. Body paragraphs, PAAE method. Key points, case study details, evaluation. Conclusion, summarize, evaluate, answer the question directly. Solution, even a 30-second mental plan before writing can dramatically improve your structure. Fourth, keep your arguments well structured and balanced. A great answer doesn't just list points, it carefully analyzes them with both sides of the argument before making a judgment. For example, if discussing whether a company should expand internationally, don't just write expansion will increase revenue. Instead, add balance. While expansion may boost revenue, it also carries risks such as cultural adaptation and regulatory compliance. Solution, always provide a balanced view with arguments and counter arguments. Important tip, before submitting your answer, do a quick final check. Have I answered every part of the question? Did I use the case study details effectively? Is my answer structured logically with an introduction, body, and conclusion? Have I evaluated my points properly? By following these final tips, you will write more professional, well-structured, and high-scoring responses, helping you get closer to that perfect 10. Before we conclude, I did like to acknowledge, in addition to my personal experience of being an examiner for IBDP external examinations, the key sources that have guided this session, the IBDP Business Management Subject Guide. This is the official document issued by the IB outlining the syllabus, assessment criteria, and expectations for exam answers. It's an essential reference for students preparing for their exams. The second, the subject report issued by the examiner. After each examination session, IB examiners release a report highlighting common mistakes, strengths of high scoring responses, and key insights into how students can improve. Reviewing these reports helps us understand exactly what the examiners are looking for in top band answers. These resources are excellent for further study and refining your exam techniques. Make sure to refer to them to strengthen your business management skills. And that brings us to the end of this session. I hope you found this video useful and insightful in helping you master the 10-mark answer structure for IB Business Management. Remember, practice makes perfect. The best way to improve is by writing past paper answers and getting comfortable with applying business concepts, case studies, and evaluation techniques effectively. Got any questions? Feel free to ask. I'm always happy to help clarify any doubts or concepts. You can drop your questions in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more business management content and exam tips. Your support helps create more valuable videos for IB learners like you. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Keep learning, keep practicing, and all the best for your exams.